Welcome, everyone, to another fantastic episode of the Tree of Geek. This is Season 3, Episode 6, Lord of the Rings, The War of the Rohirrim. My name is Michael, and as usual, I am here with Josh.
Hello.
How you doing today, Josh?
I am actually doing really well. I just watched this movie today because, my schedule is way too busy lately, and I am insanely excited to talk about this movie. I have a lot of opinions on it.
Do you? Negative, positives, all types of opinions, left and right, all over the place?
All of the above.
All of the above. That's good. That's good. I'm doing fine as well. You didn't really get to ask me, but I'll just say it anyway.
How are you doing?
I was super sick last week. Yeah, it was my first call off of the year. I was trash, just pure trash. We had our floors redone, so right before it happened, I slept on the couch for a couple days. I did go to work for some of them, and then we ended up sleeping on the couch for like a whole nother week. And Emily and I were separated because the floors were done upstairs. We had to move all the furniture. I had to do this as I was sick, carrying stuff to the attic, but most of it's gone. I got a slight cough, but man, is that season like everybody is getting it.
Yeah, my wife works at a hospital, and she told me that they have people in the ER or ED now, emergency department, waiting for beds. Like every bed in the hospital is full right now. And it's all people with the flu and,
February's tough around here.
Yeah.
January, February.
It is.
Yeah, I got sick the day after my birthday, or my birthday night. Yeah. So welcome to 42. You are now sick. So as usual, we can jump into what is new in our world as far as geekdom is concerned, movies, TV shows, comic books, video games, yada, yada. Tell me, Josh, what is new or what news do you have in the world of geek?
Well, for me, Captain America, Brave New World. It is releasing in a couple of days in our timeline.
Yep.
And
this Friday.
From what I'm seeing, is the early reviews, it's definitely getting mixed reviews. People are calling it a missed opportunity, and other people are calling it the best thing to come out of Marvel in a while.
What I've understood is the critics are slamming it, but fans are liking it.
Yeah, that's what it looked like.
43% on Rotten Tomatoes, I think, as of recording.
That's
That's like 90-some reviews, I guess.
See, IMDb didn't have any reviews up yet, but the reason I mentioned trailers is because one of my favorite franchises has dropped a new trailer, Jurassic World Rebirth. I think that's what it's called.
Sure.
I'm very skeptical, don't get me wrong.
Excitement level.
I like Jurassic Park. I like Jurassic Park Lost World. I like Jurassic Park 3, even though it's definitely not my favorite. But I like all three of them more than Jurassic World 1, 2, and 3. Just watching the trailer, this one has me kind of excited because it looks like they're trying to take it in a very different direction.
It's just new mutated dinosaurs that are more dangerous than the T-Rex.
Well, so if you look back at the original plans for Jurassic Park 4, they were supposed to be human dinosaur hybrids.
Oh, that was a great idea.
Genetically modified for military use. And there's
never saw that before either.
So many people saying that they think that's what this could be.
So Vin Diesel's going to come out as a dinosaur?
I really hope not.
He's going to put the franchises together. It's going to happen.
The Fast and the Jurassic?
Sure.
Hey, wouldn't you want to see Vin Diesel driving a Jeep while T-Rex chases?
No. No, I don't.
A digital version of Paul Walker saying, must go faster, must go faster.
I have no interest in any of that.
But I'm not going to go to theaters to see it. Definitely not.
No.
However, as soon as I had the opportunity to watch it, I'm probably going to. I'm a lot more excited for this than I was Dominion. And I don't know why. Is
that the one I never finished?
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
Okay.
But moving on, let's get out of the movie world. And I am just about done with Wheel of Time, Book 0, the prequel that was written much, much later.
Correct.
It was definitely difficult for me to get into at first. It was very slow starting.
It is a bit slow.
But around the halfway mark, I think, is when it felt like more things were happening, and I'm actually really enjoying it, and I'm excited to go to book number 1.
I liked it because of the history of the Aes Sedai. You get just a smidge of what they go through.
Now, do you think I should have started with book 1, maybe even gone to 2, 3, and then gone back?
No, book 0. Because even though I'd seen the TV show and I ordered all the books, I still started with 0.
Would having watched the TV show first helped?
They don't...
Because this is my first exposure. I've never seen or read any...
Zero is not really talked about anywhere in the series that I can tell.
Well, I'm enjoying it, and if that's how the other books are going to go, I think this is a series I can definitely run with.
Book 1 has a lot more going on in it than Book 0.
How many books are there? 14 or something?
I think there's 14, something like that. Yeah, some of them are like 52 chapters and stuff, man. That's like a
year.
Beefy.
That's like a year of reading.
I'm on chapter 9 or 10 of book 2.
Man, I usually shoot for 1 book a month. I used to do 2 a month, and I used to hit that goal. And then I tried to go to 52 books in a year, so 1 a week, and that was just not happening.
I fall asleep at work if I try to read more than 1 chapter of something.
Okay.
Like, reading just puts me out. So I like read my 1 chapter. I'm like, all right, I got it. And I don't read a chapter every day. I should.
See, I read at night, like right before bed, and weirdly, reading, it'll keep me awake because it engages me so much.
Maybe I'm not reading the right book.
TV puts me asleep.
Now it keeps me awake because I don't know, I'm a more visual guy, I guess.
Well, funny enough, but being opposites like that, my wife, Benadryl, gets her super hyper, whereas it puts most people to sleep. It's really weird. And then finally, the last thing I have that I am personally excited but also really nervous about is that I am 2 chapters away from finishing my personal book that I've been writing, or the rough draft. Obviously, there's a ton of, editing and rewrites that will end up going into it, but the idea of finishing it is exciting, but it's also kind of nerve-wracking, and I don't know why.
I'm happy for you, man, because, I'm still stuck on chapter 6.
I mean, this has been, what? I think we started like 6 months ago.
Yeah, you're like way ahead of me.
Well, there was a brief spout where my wife worked a lot of night shift, and when she's on night shift, I would just focus on writing after the kids go to bed, and I was able to knock out like almost a chapter a day there for a while. And then, life caught up, and
I feel like I have a lot less time at home to do it, but I'm working on it. I wrote a little bit today.
You have more time to do your personal stuff at work?
It seems that way. And listen, I work when it's time to work. If there's a task in front of me, I will stop what I'm doing. I don't just sit there and get paid to do nothing. Like, I do actually do work.
So you don't like tell somebody, hey, hold on a minute, let me finish this chapter.
I mean, I might stand up and keep typing that last sentence, but
So what about you? What's going on in your world?
Well, I started on Hulu. They have a show called Paradise. It's kind of a sci-fi mystery. I'm digging it. Sterling Brown or something. Remember in Predator, which one is it? The Predator, where the super predator shows up and the one dude gets the weapon. He's out in the woods and he ends up like shooting his own head off. Yeah. He's in it. That guy. Yeah. And he's really good in it. It's got James Marsden and there's Secret Service and presidents and some big mystery. I'm enjoying it so far. You already said the Captain America stuff. Like I said, mixed reviews. Thunderbolts. There was a Super Bowl commercial about that.
Yes, there was.
I'm jonesed for it. That one I am excited to see.
Did you watch it the whole way through?
Yeah, I didn't have a choice. It was on the screen.
So the only thing I noticed that I'm curious about it is Taskmaster. You only see her in a couple scenes.
Somebody's got to die first, right?
Well, then she's not in like the car scene later on and stuff like that. You don't see her at all.
Somebody's got to be sacrificed.
I mean, that's what I'm wondering, if it's going to be like a Suicide Squad setup where, here's this team. Oh, a couple just died. Or in this case,
that'd be my guess.
The most hated of them all, which I don't think anybody liked the Taskmaster Marvel did.
No, I didn't. I'll join that group. But speaking of people that are similar to Marina Baccarin, who's not playing her, but the woman kind of looked like her. Well, anyway, she's joining Masters of the Universe as the Sorceress. Ooh. And Johannes Hakur Johansson, I have no idea who that is, but he's going to be Fisto. So we got more casting news there. They did cast the mom and dad of He-Man, but I can't remember who.
Marina Baccarin is joining, or the actress from Taskmaster?
Marina Baccarin.
Oh, okay.
Baccarin.
Okay.
Yeah, she's in there. I just saw her in something too. It was really good.
Deadpool and Wolverine.
Oh no, it was that stupid Elevation movie you had me watch.
Yes.
God, that movie sucks.
She is in that.
That movie sucks. It's also got that Sam Wilson guy in it from Captain America.
I told you. It's
not very good.
5-6 at best.
Yeah. Ugh. And finally, Matthew Lillard is pretty much all but confirmed that he is in Scream 7.
But he's dead.
Well, he did some cryptic thing on Instagram, and the directors have come out and said he's supposed to be there. Apparently, he doesn't die when the TV smashes. He just gets like disfigured and then goes to prison. So by the time Scream 7 comes out, he should be getting out. That's the rumor.
Interesting.
He's done his time.
And he'll be disfigured, or he'll have had plastic surgery and he's good to go.
Doesn't matter. He has a mask on. Who cares?
All right.
Maybe he'll be the good guy this time. I don't know. Shit, let's switch it up.
Good enough.
All I know is I hope Gale Withers finally dies. Just end it, man. Just fucking end it, please. Ugh.
Is Jenna Ortega still in them?
No.
She died?
No, she quit.
Oh, fair.
Yeah, they fired the other lady and then she quit.
Oh, I do remember something about that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's what's new in our world. Let's move on to our topic at hand. I had shot out a couple weeks back. I said, let's go to Middle Earth.
The Hunt for Gollum.
Yeah. But I was like, let's not do Lord of the Rings. We can't do The Hobbit. I mean, there's been hundreds of podcasts and videos done on these movies. Let's do something different. Let's do a nice little bit on a movie that came out last year that we just didn't get a chance to see yet. It's still set in Middle Earth. Let's do the War of the Rohirrim. And you're like, yeah, why not, right?
Yeah. I mean, you know me, I love all things Middle Earth. Yes, I was a little crushed when you said, hey, let's not do the Lord of the Rings franchise.
It's just been done to death. You know, what can you say at this point? Other than, hey, do you like them? Yes. What do you don't like about them? Then you say like two things and that'll be it, you know? But
the War of the Rohirrim, being totally blunt, this is a movie that I didn't know if I was even going to watch.
I knew I was going to get to it. Because
it was an animated kind of anime style. I don't know. It didn't come on my radar like really at all. So
okay. Well, what is this movie even about? Like, what is Lord of the Rings and what is the War of the Rohirrim? Give me a brief explanation of what those two things are. If pretend that I'm dumber than a box of rocks. I've been living in a cave, a troll cave, forever with my swords buried in the ground. I'm sorry, I just watched some of The Hobbit last night. And explain to me what is Lord of the Rings and what is War of the Rohirrim.
All right. Well, I'm assuming that if you've already made it, like 15 minutes into this podcast or whatever we're at, you have an idea of what Lord of the Rings is. But real quick, the Lord of the Rings is in my opinion, beautiful trilogy written by J.R.R. Tolkien back in the 30s and 40s era-ish. And it's a solid depiction of the war of good versus evil. I mean, you're looking at elves and dwarves and hobbits and man fighting off against Uruk-hai and orcs and evil gods like
it is high fantasy.
It is the pinnacle of fantasy.
High fantasy. It's like the high bar, you know?
Yeah.
Like if you want to do fantasy like that, every fantasy is going to be compared to Lord of the Rings.
Well, and ironically, I think we said before, like setting the bar of fantasy is Lord of the Rings and The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe.
Chronicles of Narnia.
Thank you. Chronicles of Narnia, which, as we've said, Tolkien and
C.S. Lewis.
Thank you. C.S. Lewis were actually friends.
The Inklings.
Yes.
With some other people.
So it's just incredible to me that together they pretty much set the bar. Like,
yeah. One did Poral fantasy and the other one did high fantasy. And it was like, here's where it's at.
They both created worlds. I mean, Tolkien was, I believe, a literary...
He was
He had degrees in language and like
linguistics.
Entire Elven... Thank you. Linguistics. I can't think today.
Right.
The entire Elvish language is actually a fully fleshed out language that you can learn to write and read and speak.
Kind of like Klingon.
But yeah, well, yeah, actually, it's a fully developed language. I mean, for somebody to develop an entire language just for a book.
That's wild.
I mean, we're writing our own stories and we had to develop magic systems and whatnot. But I mean, that's above and beyond. Like that is.
I like how like people ask Sanderson, he's like, why don't you have elves and dwarves and stuff like that in your stories? He's like, well, Tolkien pretty much did it to a certain point, and what's the point of retreading everywhere he went? Like he already did it to perfection. Why would I mess with it? Like
don't
it's
fix
already
what's
there.
Not broken.
Yeah, it's like I'm gonna go in some other directions and come up with other stuff.
But yeah, the Lord of the Rings follows a hobbit who gets this magical ring on a quest to destroy it. There.
Yeah.
Is that about it?
One ring to rule them all. And
again,
in the darkness bind them.
If by some weird chance you have not seen that trilogy, please go and watch it. Just
go on vacation because it'll be on TV somewhere. Harry Potter will be on one channel and Lord of the Rings will be on the other channel. It's guaranteed.
You know how I told you that we always turn the TV in the lounge at work to FX and there's always either Alien or X-Men? Today I turned it on and it was X2, immediately followed by X3, followed by Logan.
All the old Fox movies, yeah.
I'm like, man. And I'll tell you what, I watched a little bit of Logan. I forgot just how good that movie is. That one is very well done.
It is good. I purposely haven't watched it a lot just because I didn't want to like overdo it.
Yeah, I think I watched it like maybe twice back around when it first came out and not since.
Same.
So just catching little pieces of it, like I forgot just how dirty, like gritty it was. I mean, I might go back and rewatch it on my movie rewatches.
Yeah, there you go.
That I'll never do.
Maybe we'll do a Wolverine episode. Who knows?
All right. Now, part 2 of your question. Michael, what is the War of the Rohirrim?
It's a 2024 anime fantasy movie directed by Kenji Kamiyama off of a screenplay from Jeffrey Addis and Will Matthews, Phoebe Giddens, and Arnie Papagiorgio. It's based on characters from J.R.R. Tolkien. From what I understand, they're kind of from the appendices.
Yeah.
It predates, it's about 200 years before Bilbo Baggins gets the ring. And it's a story of a war, a civil war-ish spat between some people in Rohan and a good battle at Helm's Deep before it's called Helm's Deep.
Yeah.
The Hornburg, I think, is what it's called before that.
Yeah, I believe. So, yeah, basically it's different factions in that same region trying to pair up to make a greater power instead of just pairing up with Gondor like everybody has in the past.
Yeah, it's to deal with the Dundlings and some Easterners and all types of different cast of characters.
So far, I've seen that critics have been giving it very heavily mixed reviews. Some praise it, saying that it's just the most amazing animation that they've seen, like the style and the depth of characters.
I like the style of anime. That Highlander one I told you about is similar to this. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, obviously done years before, but it is in that similar anime style.
And then other critics are saying that it was completely unnecessary and that it taints Tolkien's world with a completely irrelevant story, which I think we'll give our opinions on that throughout this episode.
Yeah, I can give a take on that later on.
So IMDb, out of 22,000 votes, users, whatever, 6.3 out of 10. So not not an amazing 7 out of 10. I definitely rewatch it, but
well, if you go to Rotten Tomatoes, the critics give it 49%, which sounds not good, but audience gives it 82%.
Oh wow. Okay.
So it just goes to show you that some people don't need to shred it apart with every single detail under a microscope. Like, oh, they should have done this camera angle. This character should have more time. People just watched it and had fun. And that's what I did. I mean, obviously, we're going to dissect it a little bit, but I just
that's a lot of the review, because I went through and you can read reviews on IMDb. Some people post stuff, and some of it was
on Rotten Tomatoes as well.
Well, some of it was like they were picking apart, like you said, like some of the lines. Oh, that was practically ripped from the later movies, kind of like they did with Alien. Get away from her, you bitch.
Right.
And other people are saying, hey, I love that callback. Like, that's a great little tidbit. And
well, when you're going off the appendices, you don't really have a lot to go off of. It's the same with Rings of Power. They kind of have to make up their own dialogue. And why not mimic what's already out there? I mean, you want it to sound and feel like you're still in the same world, correct?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And this movie clocked in at 2 hours and 15 minutes.
Yeah, it was a bit long. I was like, wow, there's still a lot more to go here.
Oh yeah. I mean, I thought we were at the climax, and like I moved my mouse to see how far we were, and there was still like a solid 35 minutes left. I'm like, oh, I guess a lot's going to happen. And this movie's action pretty much right up to the end. Something is happening.
There's a good bit that goes on, for sure.
So who all's in this movie? Well, I guess who all voices?
Well, like I said, the director is Kenji Kamiyama. I guess he did Ghost in the Shell of some sort, a bunch of other anime, manga stuff. Main cast is Brian Cox, does the voice of Helm Hammerhand. Gaia Wise does Hera. Miranda Otto does the voiceover of Awen. Luke Pasqualino, yeah, we'll go with that.
Sure.
Does Wolf, W-U-L-F. Lorraine Ashbourne as Olwen. She's a Shieldbane lady. Sean Dooley as Freka. Benjamin Wainwright as Heleth. Lawrence Ubong Williams as Freelof. Michael Wildman as General Targ. Janine Duvitsky as Old Penacrook, that old creepy lady. Belial Hasna as Leaf. Jude Akuwadike as Lord Thorn. And Billy Boyd, you might know who that is if you've ever seen Lord of the Rings, shows up as Shank. And finally, Dominic Monaghan also shows up as Rot. That's W-R-O-T.
So we got Merry and Pippin making little cameos here.
Yeah, and I knew they were there when I saw the casting of it. At the beginning it shows everybody that's in it, but I didn't really...
It didn't sound like...
Yeah, like
I knew who they played, and when it got to their part, it didn't sound like them at all. I couldn't figure out who was who.
I didn't know either. I was like, well, I'm glad that they didn't do Merry and Pippin. Like, they did something different. That was nice.
Well, they'd be 200 years young.
You know what I mean is they didn't do, like, the same type of voice
that
you would specifically know.
Right.
Right. So I guess we can go through the movie. We're not going to go through every single scene. We're not going to tell you every single thing that happens. If you don't want to know what happens, pause it now, come back, hear our thoughts.
Yeah, go watch it.
Yeah, we don't know. I know normally we do go through a movie and we go pretty heavy through I know for Highlander and some other ones, Lethal Weapon, I give you the whole entire movie. This one, we're just going to hit the high notes. I got maybe 15 to 20 things written down here.
Yeah, I have about the same.
That's it. So
there's a few scenes that breaking them down a little bit, just mostly from the artistic point of view. But so that's your warning that this episode is absolutely going to contain spoilers. So again, you have been warned. Go watch it. Come back. We'll be waiting for you, but we're not going to be waiting for you. We're going to go ahead and go now. So
yeah, we're on a quest.
Our story opens up with a young redhead riding on a horse in the middle of nowhere, pretty much.
And it tells you that's 200 years before Bilbo.
Yeah, okay, sorry. It opens up with the voice of Éowyn narrating, kind of like Galadriel did in the original Lord of the Rings. They tell you it's 200 years prior, and then we get to see our redhead, that's Hera, riding her horse out in the middle of nowhere, climbing up a giant rock face, and basically trying to pet an eagle.
And feed it. Well, she's going to feed it.
Well, yeah, she's going to feed it.
I've typed in here bird feeding. She has like a big ham hock, like a big leg of a horse or something.
Yeah, she's trying to pet one of the giant eagles.
Caw.
It felt random, but I mean, I guess they were probably a lot more present back then, before all the wars got going.
Well, we don't really ever know through the movies or TV shows really where they live.
Mountains.
Yeah. And,
my understanding...
And Rohan has a lot of mountains around.
My understanding I mean, again, you're going to learn a lot more about the eagles and the appendices and like the Silmarillion. But from what I've read, my understanding is mostly up in the mountains.
Yeah, in between the manual where it says hook the green wire to the white wire so you get the audio to the left of your stereo, that's where it tells you in the Silmarillion where the eagles live.
That's horribly accurate when you actually stop and think about it.
Yes.
The best way I always compared it was reading the Silmarillion is like reading Leviticus in the Bible. It's like,
oh my goodness,
the driest thing you're ever going to try and get through, and you probably won't. But if you have read it, let us know what we're missing.
Which one, Leviticus or Silmarillion?
Silmarillion. Then we jump back to the town in the middle of Rohan, up on the hill. You know it. It's Edoras, or Edoras, however you want to say it, where Helm has visitors.
Helm is the king.
Helm is the king. Helm Hammerfist. He has some visitors over, basically trying to convince him to sell off or trade off his daughter's hand in marriage to join forces to become stronger, so that I believe it was something along the lines of they're not always under Gondor's thumb.
Yeah,
they want to become bigger.
Yeah, these are the Dunlians or
the Dunlanding.
Dunlanders.
Yeah. So I wrote it down.
Wears.
I wrote this down. Anybody who's not sure what we're talking about, in I believe it's Return of the King. It might be in the Two Towers. The Dundaling are the wild men that you see talking to Saruman, the White Wizard, cutting his hand and like squeezing blood out, saying like, we pledge ourselves to Saruman.
It's an extended scene, isn't it?
It might be an extended scene. But they're basically, think like wild, rough-looking guys.
Yeah. Think of the German dudes at like the beginning of Gladiator. The first Gladiator. Schischgehunden. He's got the big hammer and he's swinging around. It's like those type of people is really what they are.
Yeah. They are a race of men living in the plains of Dunland, and they're an enemy of Rohan, but they're there trying to, I don't want to say like barter peace or like create a peace treaty, but they're trying to get strong enough that they could take
I don't think they're
Gondor
completely enemies. They're just like looked down upon as savages in a way. Because they're allowed in Edoras. They weren't like, the enemies are at the gates. They're allowed in them, and the king knows who they are.
There's definitely bad blood there.
Yeah. And there's bad blood enough because he's like, no, you can't have my daughter. And their leader's like, well, I'm going to fight you.
Yeah, and we find out that the son he's trying to trade off, it was actually, I guess, really good friends with
Hera.
With Hera when they were children.
Yeah, so they're not completely enemies. They're just kind of, they live over there and they're not as good as us.
Right.
So they got chip on the shoulder. They get in a little squabble. I wrote down here, 1 punch, 1 kill.
Yeah, he unintentionally kills Freka. That's the king or leader.
He just like cracks him one time. And he's like, oh, he's dead. He's like, impossible. I only hit him once.
Oh, man, he nails him good.
This dude, Helm Hammerhand, reminds me of King Triton from Little Mermaid, only on land. Like he's kind of like a Zeus type dude. He's just like a big white bearded guy, and you got Brian Cox as the voice. Like he's a commanding.
See, for some reason, I saw him as like the father in How to Train Your Dragon, like the big burly dude that doesn't take crap from anybody.
You're obsessed with that movie.
You just quoted Little Mermaid.
Yeah, which wasn't even close to dragons, but that's fine.
All right.
Whatever. That's, I mean, we view things differently. What happens next?
Well, from my reading or my research, behind the scenes, I guess that was supposed to be the moment that he earned the moniker Hammerhand. No one refers to him as that beforehand, but then it's also right in the beginning of the movie. We don't know what they called him beforehand, but supposedly that's what gave him the nickname.
Okay.
So Wolf is very pissed off that his dad just got one punched. One Punch Man.
Yeah, I hate that shit.
And he basically vows revenge. I mean, he makes it very clear, I will be back and I'm going to kill you.
Was it you or John that proposed some fight between One Punch Man and somebody the other day?
That was me. The dude from Invincible, who is supposedly invincible, versus One Punch Man, who is apparently a one-punch winner. How does that work?
All I know is One Punch Man never loses. He has never lost. Ever. Kind of makes the story boring. Continue.
Yeah, that's true. So conflict escalates very quickly. There was a small time jump there. I'm not sure how much time.
Yeah, well, he exiles Wolf.
Right.
Like, you guys are exiled. Get the fuck out.
Right. Now they're enemies.
Yeah, now him and the Dunland.
And there was a small time jump. I don't think it really specified, or I missed it.
I don't know, like 5 years. I think it's 5 or 6 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, we see Hera and her lady friend. Yes, a bunch of people out riding and whatnot, and they come across
a pissed off Oliphant.
Yeah.
Actually.
Yeah. They come across
I guess they're called Mumakills, but I could have swore they were called Oliphants.
Yeah. I thought it was like Elephant or something like that. Yeah. She dispatches it, we'll put it that way, and then gets kidnapped.
The way she does it, and I won't give this part away, even though I have it written down here, but using your enemy to kill your enemy.
Yeah, it was pretty solid.
It was pretty sweet. And the fact that creature got brought back in a way from an earlier thing, the way they did the Oliphant, it was just, I did like the animation there.
Yeah, no, it was very well done, very creative way of doing it. I liked it.
Yeah. And she gets kidnapped anyway.
She does. She gets kidnapped, and hey, guess what? It was Wolf basically saying, hey, if you marry me, all this has to end. Otherwise I'm going to come kill your whole family.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
So I have in my notes here that Wolf is just butthurt because he can't get the girl.
Yeah, and his daddy got killed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like most of this escalated just because he couldn't get the girl.
Yeah. Well, and the Shield Maiden lady, and apparently there's no Shield Maidens around anymore, but there's one. There's Uno around. Yeah. They've said that like 3 times in this movie. She and the Hera's cousin, which is Helm's nephew that she was riding with earlier, around the pissed off elephant, they rescue her. They bring her back, but even though they rescued her, Helm is still pissy because he let her get kidnapped in the first place. He exiles his nephew.
Yeah.
He doesn't just say, you know what, I don't like you and you leave me alone for a while. He's like, no, you're exiled. And he's like, but you're going to need us for the upcoming war. And he goes, you know nothing about war.
It was basically the same as possessed Theoden exiling his son.
Yes.
That's basically what it was.
Yeah, not the best originality there, but, so he's like, well, you always have my sword.
Yeah.
I'm going to go chill over here, but you always have my sword. Be a pissed off uncle later on.
Yeah, I did like that. In Middle-earth, you often see a lot of the loyalist type stuff. And even though he's being exiled, he flat out says, I will always fight for Rohan. It's one of those.
So I guess this dude, you never know his mother, or you only know his mother or father, one of the two. So I guess he's half Gondor, half Rohan, but they never really specify.
Right.
Because his uncle's like, well, you're with fucking Gondor anyway.
Yeah.
So screw you,
Yep.
There's always some bad blood between Rohan and Gondor.
Just like when a man who talks to animals saves a blind guy, the blind guy doesn't care. He says, get out of my life.
Yeah, I'm racist against Beastmaster. Now, I guess I just thought of this now, but if you watch Rings of Power, you know that eventually there's just 2 brothers that one will find Gondor and one will find Rohan. So, that's maybe it's a whole bad blood between brothers that just never died. That's why they hate each other.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible.
We find out later on that Lord Thorn, who's like, hey, man, don't worry, King, I got your back. When you call us, we're going to be there. He's a bastard. He's a bastard betrayer guy. He bamboozled him because Edoras is going to be attacked. And the king's like, no, I got this. Don't worry about it. Things don't go the way he thinks. But luckily, Hera, she's a strong-spirited lady, and she's got a plan B.
And she catches on to the betrayal.
Very quickly, because I do try to murk her in the fucking stables, man.
Yeah, I know, right?
He was like, that dude's not nice.
It wasn't even, maybe I'm wrong. No, hey, I'm going to kill you now.
Yeah, I'm going to murder you. I don't like you.
And that was right as Wolf, launched his forces against Edoras. It was, okay, full-on war, basically kill everybody, take this place.
Yes. So that all goes down. The people escape to the Hornburg. It's not called Helm's Deep yet. And but Hera's brother, the one gets murked. He gets murked. And he's a cool dude because he's like trying to save her at the end, and then he gets murked. He was a cool guy. I like that the older brother.
He'd like just killed the one elephant.
Yeah, he'd pull the fucking Legolas and brought that elephant down.
And then he just took one for the team.
Yeah.
Man, I mean, that was it actually kind of hurt a little bit. I don't know. I never thought I'd be attached to an animated character, but like that one kind of hurt.
Yeah.
And then they got out of Dodge.
And the king gets shot up after that.
Yeah, the king had like 3 arrows in him. So Harry gets him on a horse. They're leaving. The other son's on a horse behind them leaving. They get to the deep, whatever it's called again.
They get to the Hornburg. But don't worry, the younger brother's been captured.
Yeah.
Because his horse couldn't run anymore.
She turns
his horse
around.
was done.
She turns around. She's like, he was right behind us. Oh, well, he's still behind. He's just on the enemy's horse with the enemy.
Yeah, so they bring him up. He gets murked.
Dude, that was brutal. That was brutal.
Decapitated, man. Gangster.
Man, yeah.
Yeah, so the king's all shot up. Everybody's chilling in the Hornburg. Winter's coming. They have no supplies. Sounds slightly familiar.
And a little overwhelming for the people.
Yes.
Starvation, exhaustion. I mean, they hold out. They don't really have a choice, but they hold out. And then something I thought was a really cool touch started happening.
The ghost killer?
The enemy just started getting picked off one by one at night. Well, one by one, like a dozen at a time. And they started calling it the Wraith, saying that Helm Hammerfist is basically going through the enemy camp while they're sleeping and just murking people.
Yeah, and they don't really show that it's him.
No, they don't.
But then you kind of learn it might be something different. But there is a ghost lady that goes around a couple corners, but they never explain what the ghost lady is. Unless it's the dead bride, but that doesn't explain who's getting murdered outside. So there's this whole murder mystery that we won't spoil for you.
It never gets fully explained either.
Yeah, like we know what's going on with the king eventually, but we don't know if there's an actual wraith or ghost. Yeah. We don't know if it's some goblinish creature or if it is a ghost, if it's a combination. We don't know.
It's Gollum. He's just running around killing people looking for his ring.
Maybe. I mean, all I know is that the enemy, the Dunlins, are like getting picked off.
They're irritated. Freaked out.
Yeah, they're like grown ass men are like, oh my God, the Wraith is going to get me.
Yeah, like they're legit freaked out. And then they hear any type of yelling or anything in the distance, because at this point, winter's setting in, so they're already...
The howling of the wind.
Yeah, like they're freaking out, thinking that it's the Wraith coming to get them.
It's blizzarding all the time.
Yeah, well, they even said this is like one of the heaviest, longest winters that they've seen.
Well, winter's coming, my friend.
Wrong franchise.
Oh, shit. Well, the wheel turns. Well, I mean, some orcs show up. There's some orcs looking for things. So you get a little connection to the other parts of the franchises. There's some orcs that are killing people and taking their rings. And the one's like, I don't know why we need to keep all these rings. And he's like, well, that's what the master wants. I don't know what he wants with all these days. And he like shows his little nappy sack fucking belt. He's got like fucking 72 rings in there.
He's like, he finishes eating something and then you see him pull a ring out of his mouth and drop it in this knapsack.
Yeah, sure, like eating people and spitting out their rings.
Yeah.
So Sauron's looking for some rings. He's looking for the one ring.
Someone is.
Yeah, somebody is. Maybe it's the Witch King from Arnor. I don't fucking know. But somebody's looking for some rings.
Well, for all we know, Sauron's already been corrupted.
Yeah, we don't know the exact timeline of when that happened.
No. I mean, they could be working for him. We don't know. But they're looking for rings, for sure.
Well, it's weird, though, because they do show Isengard at one point, and they show a shit ton of people around it.
They even say that's where Wolf and them are... basically held up. That's where they take Hera when they kidnap her the first time.
Yeah, but they don't... Yeah, they're there, but they don't ever, like, say at this point that Sauron's up there. They're like... Because she makes a comment, who would camp here? Who would do that here at Isengard? As if it's, like, abandoned or some shit. But I'm in my head, I'm like, it shouldn't be abandoned at this point.
But at the end, Saruman actually comes into the one hall, and they say, like, the new resident of Isengard.
So where the fuck was he before?
Not there. So I don't know if it was just empty or what.
Who built Isengard beforehand? I'm going to do some research then. I'm just curious. I don't know who the fuck built it.
I don't know, because it wasn't him.
One of the other fucking wizards that disappeared?
Maybe.
Look into that. I'm curious.
Yeah.
Well, regardless of what orcs are doing or what rings they're looking for, Helm Hammerfist does show back up at one point, and he opens up a frozen can of whoop ass on like a shit ton of people.
Yeah.
Remember, I don't know if anybody out there remembers the bridge with Legolas and Gimli. He's like, you're going to have to throw me. And that, because they even show that little door, which is nice that they do show
that side door.
Yeah. It is still like they draw it on the anime like it is as if it was out of the movie. So that bridge that's there, Hammerfist makes a stand and he's like, I'm still fucking here. come get me.
Well,
He's just raging.
And I like the gate could only open
It was
so
like
far.
second wind in D&D. Only
Yeah.
he had like 6th and 8th and 10th wind.
The gate was jammed. It couldn't open so far because it was frozen, and he could fit Hera through it.
He just like grabs his hands. He's just
But then
massive hands.
I love when he was just like, there's a cute little goodbye, and then he just shuts it on her face, like, see ya.
Deuces.
And-
I'm still here.
Man, I mean, if there was ever a barbarian class character,
Dude, Hammer Fist is
He
like...
just- without a weapon for the longest time,
he's mean to people he shouldn't be, but he's really mean to people he should be.
he's just dropping people left and right, and oh my word, that was an amazing scene.
Yeah, he would definitely take out Theoden. No, he's like, you're the king? Snap. I'll take my throne back. Thank you.
Yeah, I'd love to know where that line went. Oh wait, they all died.
Obscurity. They went to obscurity. But don't worry, because hey, what's Hera doing at this point now that she's back in there? What plan? What's she doing? Because I mean, we have a nephew that's still. Remember the big cliff where the ghost people are back in the cave. He's like up on that. Is that the same cliff he was hanging out on with his tents and army? Remember, he kept waiting for a signal and never got it.
I don't know if that was.
It looked like the same cliff to me.
Maybe, but he was somewhere. And yeah, so Hera, because we skipped it, but Helm does eventually die on that ramp, that bridge.
Yes.
I mean, you can only single-handedly fight off a literal army for so long.
I mean, people were even left, but it doesn't matter.
I know, right? Most of them are dying from the wraith, the cold, and now him. But she takes his armor and she climbs up the mountain and gets one of the giant eagles who just happens to be perched at the top of that mountain to fly his armor to her cousin.
Yeah, to the cousin nephew dude.
I thought when she started climbing it that she was going to light the beacon, but maybe the beacon wasn't there yet.
I don't think there was a beacon yet.
I don't know. They never said or showed.
Yeah, I mean, he was waiting for a signal at some point. He's like, all right, man, we're done. I'm tired of waiting. I got beers in the fridge.
And he even
We're
said,
gone."
we're going to head back to Gondor. Oh, wait, what's that in the distance? It's an eagle that almost killed me with armor. Yeah. So we got reinforcements on the way, but that doesn't mean that it's, an instant show.
Because we got a big siege tower that is going to be dropped on top of the big wall.
I really like that they showed them over time building the siege tower.
Like it wasn't just there.
Yeah, like different shots showed it at different levels.
Like
and
they were at this for I'm going to say 2-3 months.
That's what it seemed like, yeah.
Like a full winter season.
Yeah.
They were at
Like
this.
they were not relenting. I mean, and they finally were ready to go. And at this point, Wolf just orders a full-on attack. And they attack. I mean,
some of his generals object, and he gives them a piece of his mind, and
yeah,
there's that. And then reinforcements show up.
They do,
and it's not a wizard.
Yeah. Well, I do like that. Right before that, though, because Hera had discovered that secret pass in Helm's Deep, which we do see later.
Path.
We do see later. In the Lord of the Rings, the Two Towers, that's the path that they're trying to get them out of. And so to distract them...
Well, because even when they're in the cave is still drawn like the same fucking cave passageway.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
That you see in the live action movie. I know we're supposed to save our likes and stuff, but I did like the actual, hey, this is this place. We didn't just take some artistic, liberties here. Like, this is legit Helm's Deep.
Yes. I have a little bit on that later. But so what does she do to buy her people more time? She rides out to meet Wolf by herself.
In a fucking moldy ass wedding dress.
And I think she literally said, let's end this. This is you and me.
Yeah, I gave you a scar on your eye as a kid. I'm going to do some more now.
Well, I think she even said, if I win, you leave. And it's that simple. And if he wins, obviously she dies.
So yeah, the fight ensues. Somebody wins, somebody loses. Victory.
Well, I like that fight because whenever you think someone won, it wasn't over yet. There was 3 false endings to that fight.
Yeah, well, it's because nobody wanted to quit.
Right.
And other people trying to get in the way.
And there was definitely a scene in that fight that it was one of those they clashed together and you thought for sure one of them just got stabbed to the guts.
Yeah. Oh, is that where
you're like, I don't know. Wait, who is it? Who is it?
Yeah. Because they both were like, ugh.
Yeah. Yeah. And then we do have our backup arrive and
he's dressed in Helm's armor. the nephew.
That was awesome.
And you hear whoever's running around that's left go, oh my God, it's King Helm. Oh my God, he's back again. Like, oh my God, he's a ghost. He's here. He's there. We know he got frozen, like he's dead over there, but holy shit. Like everybody's still freaked out.
Do you understand how superstitious the people of Middle Earth must be?
Oh my Lord.
I mean,
you hear a crack in the woods. You're like, oh my God, it's orcs.
Right.
Shit.
Oh, it's just an ent.
See, I thought the ents were going to show up when she was leaving him into the forest.
I did
the
too.
Elephant. Like, do you know what's in there? I was like,
Yes.
oh shit, later's like a tree's going to step on this thing.
That's exactly what I thought.
And I was wrong.
Or a bugbear or something. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, and then they're victorious in the end because, I mean, obviously.
Yeah, they got to rebuild Edoras.
Yeah, but I loved how she flat out said, you know, like, from here on out, this will be known as Helm's Deep to honor
This isn't the Hornburg anymore. They do reference Hornburg in the live action movies. I think they're just calling that the doorway. It's still the Hornburg, like when you first walked in. I think but it's overall now known as Helm's Deep because King Helm fucking held that shit.
It was just, I don't know, there's something, like, I love a good origin story. And this felt like the origin story of Helm's Deep. Like,
yeah, and that's what I enjoyed about it. So when people say this was unneeded and like this movie didn't need to exist, I'm like, no, it did. Because there's a reason there's so much lore in Lord of the Rings, why people have so much fan fiction or they're always clamoring for more, why we're getting fucking Gollum movies, is because people want to know more. Well, they want to know every single fucking detail.
And it's one of those things where Helm's Deep, we know is named after somebody, but we never know who or why.
I didn't know if it was named after a king or if it was just Helm was just a term for something from an old language.
Okay, and
I didn't know what the hell Helm meant.
Like,
I never looked into the line of kings of Rohan.
Like, I knew it was named after a king of Rohan, but you know nothing about him unless you go through the appendices. I think there's like a sentence.
Yeah, there's not much in there.
So the fact that they flushed that story out, and you know, to do this, they had to have had approval from Tolkien's estate. Even to use the appendices, they have to get approval,
right.
Which means that his, grandson or whoever's in charge of it now probably read this and said, yeah, I love it. Let's roll with it.
Yeah, probably gave a couple tidbits.
So now that's one more thing that I don't have to theorize on who Helm was.
Yeah.
And it turns out Helm was a badass.
He was. Brian Cox.
Brian
Cox.
Brian Cox.
Yeah.
So yeah, then we go back to Edoras, they're rebuilding, and we get a cameo of all things.
Yeah, because now we have a second line of king because there's no more male heirs.
Right.
So the nephew guy is now going to be king. What is that? Freelof? Is that his name?
Yeah.
The nephew Freelof?
Something like that, yeah.
I think it's Freelof. He is now going to be the
first of his line. And I'm curious if we go back through the genealogy of Theoden, if that's in his line.
It would have to be, you would think.
Unless they change kings one other time.
Yeah, I'm going to definitely look it up.
It's 200 years. 200 years is a long time when in Middle-earth you probably don't live as king that long. And
that's kind of where I'm at in my story now, is I'm having to write a history of a world.
See, that's awesome to me.
It is, but it isn't, because it's like, oh man, I got to come up with so many different names and figure out what things happened. And
find a free family tree maker online and just start filling it in.
It's not a bad idea. Not a bad idea.
Because then you could, print it out and have it written out for you.
Yeah, you said we get a cameo.
Yes. So they're in the big hall. They just announced the new king. And then they announced the new, I guess you could say, resident of Isengard.
The hobbits are headed to Isengard, to Isengard, to Isengard.
I remember that. They made a song out of that?
Yeah.
Yeah, we get Saruman the White coming in. Basically saying, hey, I'm at your service. And I don't know. I'm still thinking the orcs looking for those rings. Maybe they were working for him at the time because we don't know when he fell under Sauron's control.
Had a thing for orcs. He had a big thing for breeding orcs and doing things on the DL.
But that's what I mean. We don't know when he fell to Saruman or Sauron's power. Like they live they're immortal. They're
pretty much, yeah.
They're the Mylar.
Yes.
I mean, we don't know when it happened.
Myar or Mylar?
I think it's Myar.
Yeah, Mylar is a type of balloon or something. Is it like the type of material the balloon's made out of?
Mylar, yeah. Mylar is what I put my comic books in. The sleeves. Yeah.
Myar. Well, this is what you get for having some weird ass names.
Immortal. Okay. He's immortal.
Highlanders. Okay.
Yes. So I don't know. Maybe that's the master they were talking about. Maybe it was Sauron. I don't know.
I think that we should get another animated movie at some point. But
I was just going to ask you, do you think there should be a sequel or?
I think they should still keep making movies like this, like little little bullet points.
Like doing a whole different point of view of a whole different event, but maybe you could see Sauron sending 2 orcs off in the background.
Yeah, we're not technically in the future, the franchise section yet, but I will say that where Bilbo gets stabbed. I'm not Bilbo. I take it back. Frodo gets stabbed. And the Bilbo time, this is where Azog's hanging out for a minute. That big watchtower that's all jacked up. I want to know about that.
The one that burnt?
Yeah, like I want to know about that. What was the watchtower at when it was in its prime? Who controlled that? How did it get destroyed? What battle was that?
There's so many ruins. Like I always wanted to see the Mines of Moria in their prime, and then we finally got to see it in Rings of Power.
Yeah.
Like as much as I'm not a huge fan of that show because they did twist a lot of stuff, it's still a really good show. I mean, I
just suspend some of my belief on things.
Parallel universe?
Yeah. Just like this is the way it is in the live action version. The books are a different universe. This is time crunch, whatever.
But the film ends with Eowyn narrating once again, basically drawing that connection between the past and the future leaders, which is some of the things she said were a little cryptic in a way, and that's why I feel like that is the line of Theoden. That's her ancestor.
It would make sense.
But I mean,
because Hera just kind of rides off.
Yeah. What Hera says, she's got to go meet this person, hands like a symbol to her shield maiden.
Yeah, she just go find Gandalf, right?
Yeah, she says like in common he goes by Gandalf. What you gonna do there?
Yeah, so where's that story at? You know what I mean?
Yeah, why are you going to see Gandhi? What are you going to do?
Grand elf.
Yeah. So that is Lord of the Rings, The War of the Rohirrim in a nutshell.
Pretty much, right there.
All right. Now, being an animated movie, there weren't very many spoilers. There weren't many bloopers. There wasn't, this person had to get jacked for this role, or he did his own stunts. So we don't really have the normal behind the scenes type little tidbits for you.
Yeah, like this Denzel Washington was supposed to be cast as so and so.
Yeah,
like that's not there.
But I do have that the film. Okay, so get this. It used traditional 2D animation, which you saw, anime style, but the actors actually performed a lot of the scenes using motion capture. That was then translated into 3D animations with the Unreal Engine and then used as the references for the final 2D drawings that the animators used to make it as the movements as real and fluid as possible.
It looks good.
Oh, it's beautiful.
It looks damn good.
It is beautiful. I'm blown away by the visuals, like you were saying, Helm's Deep.
John was over there tonight and he's talking to Zach and Joe about the Crunchyroll, and John's into anime. Every time he's on, he's talking about anime. Yeah. And I'm watching this and I'm like, if anime was like this, if anybody has recommendations for some fantasy-esque anime, then that they're not stuck in video games, they're not in a school, they're not, banging different teachers, or I don't need none of that weird shit. I just if anybody has a fantasy-based anime that looks good like this, let me know, because I would try to watch something like that.
Goblin Slayer.
Goblin Slayer?
That was dark. It's one of the very few I've watched. The entire premise is, I think, D&D, where the more missions you go on, the more you level up. Well, this guy is like the highest rank possible in this guild, and he's only ever killed goblins because he has a vendetta against them. But there's some very dark themes.
I'll look into it.
Yeah. So you were saying about Helm's Deep. You were saying about how everything looked Peter Jackson-esque from the movies.
It looked like they took the actual. I'm not saying it looked exactly but it was pretty damn close. Like you felt like you were in Helm's Deep from the movie, from the live action movie.
So here's the thing. They brought in a creative team that was used to draw the visual inspirations for Peter Jackson's live action movies.
So, okay.
And then they incorporated the anime aesthetic. So basically the ones who did the concept art of what was being made, and they went pretty much art to screen, were the ones who animated a significant amount of it. They bring in
the same creative team. Like that's good. That because they're so familiar with it.
Yeah,
you're not getting somebody's crazy idea of it. Like, no, I worked on this. Fuck, dude, how many years? 2001. They were doing this in 99, 2000 pre-production. Yeah. Like, whoo, that's 24 years ago.
They brought in the creative team that was just full of veterans from the original trilogy. So they already knew what they were doing. And it included Philippa Boyens. He was the producer and consultant of the animation.
It's Philippa. Like Philippa Giorgio from Star Trek.
Philippa. Okay.
Philippa.
My point is, that is amazing. they didn't try and cut costs by doing cheap animation. Like some of it looked like anime style for the people and almost oil painting like for the backgrounds.
Well, they've been discussing this for years about doing animation.
Well,
so
in the very beginning, you're soaring over the mountains. That's the intro shot. I legitimately thought for a second that was a live action shot.
It looks damn.
It was
good.
so clean. But
So one of the one thing I will say, even now, one of the things I do like about this movie is how pretty it looks. It is absolutely beautiful.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's a piece of art. Do you have anything for behind the scenes ish type stuff?
Well, we could talk about characters like Freelof Hildinson that ends up being one of the, it starts the second Lion Kings. So I guess the character was like expanded for this movie. He's Helm's nephew who eventually inherits the throne. I guess it's his mother who's the only person that is known in the books. So it creates the possibility that his father is not Rohirrim. So he could be from Gondor. Philippa Boyens that we talked about earlier, believe that going in this direction made his ascension more unlikely and differentiated him from the Lord of the Rings character Omer, who has a similar, like, and you mentioned that before, they have kind of a similar arc. You know what I mean? Like this kind of switched it up and changed it a bit. So they bring in, like we talked about earlier, the elephant like Mama Kill in the concepts, and they decided to put it in the movie. I guess some fans were kind of irritated that they brought this in there because they're like, oh, this bringing in the Easterners. But I guess they wanted to show that Freka was wealthy enough to afford to get armies from another part of the world. Like, he's like, let's bring these guys in. I do got the cash to do this.
You mean Wolf?
No, well, his father started it.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And I guess Wolf just inherited whatever Freka had, obviously, even though he gets exiled. And it's like, you get exiled, but it just means like you can't come back to Rohan. Like you can still go back to your home, but they say that he wasn't shown for like 5 years. So I think he just kind of took what his father had started and just expanded on it. And as far as others, I mean, there's just not a ton of other stuff really behind the scenes here. We've already said they had to go off of dependencies. I know, and originally Hera didn't really have, she has like no role. She just said that she has she's the daughter of Helm, and like that's all it's there. They don't really say anything about her. So they had to expand. So they had to expand and create like a whole entire character and an arc and a whole story for her to be in that doesn't really exist. They had to create something out of like nothing. And I think they did a good job there. I think it does remind me of like the movie Brave and maybe some other, like some strong princess type women.
Basically break the patriarchy.
Yeah. But even though she wasn't like, well, no, I want to be king and I want to be in charge. Like she never tries to take the throne. The only thing there was just like, I don't want to be married to this guy.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to do it forcefully. She wasn't like, no. She was just like, I don't want to be told to do it.
Well, and I really liked how it wasn't one of those.
She didn't hate him.
It wasn't I want to be king, but it also wasn't I'm reluctant to take charge.
She did what was necessary.
Yeah, it was her responsibility. She stepped up into it. Didn't even ask questions. I like how it was such a clean transition, not a big drama deal at all.
I was afraid that when the whole you are going to be given to somebody or they want you to, I was afraid that it was going to go into this whole thing of every movie that we've ever seen before of like, oh, you have to marry this. It's for the better of the kingdom.
Yeah.
You got to. But they kind of shifted gears and went a little bit another direction. I was happy they did do that. They did just go over the same trope over and over again.
Like I said earlier, Wolf was just butthurt. He didn't get the girl, and that's what this whole thing was about.
He did want her bad. Like,
he did.
And the thing is, she kind of liked him. Had it not been forced, had it been allowed to organically grow,
it might have.
If Freka wouldn't have been such a freaking frick.
A freck?
Maybe she would have married that guy. But it was kind of forced.
Yeah. Yeah, it was. But what's he going to do?
Bring in elephants. Future of the franchise. So as far as I know, Lord of the Rings, The Hunt for Gollum, 2026. Might be a trilogy. There's rumors it is. Might be a one-off. I don't know, but that's the future. I'd already said that I'd like to see some other animated movies. Until then, maybe like one or two pop out.
Hunt for Gollum is live action.
Yes, it is.
Okay, I thought so.
I'm hoping it is.
Because I know Andy Serkis is coming back to do the voice, but
Aragorn's talking about, him being in there,
Viggo Mortensen. Okay. Well, we'll see what happens. Like I said, I'm not super excited about that, but seeing what they did with this, maybe it's going to have potential. I don't know. I mean,
they're probably going to get my money at some point. I don't know. We'll see.
I would love to see more animated movies like this come out of it, or just more projects like this, but don't do what I've said before, what Star Wars did and what Marvel did. Don't oversaturate the market with all this stuff just because a couple of things did really well.
Right. Well, this didn't do spectacular.
No.
So they're not like, oh, we're going to do 10 more of these. But I would like to see one more.
What's another story that you would love to see?
Well, I said the Watchtower. I want to know about that Watchtower.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah.
And I want to know more about, I mean, we're probably going to get some of it in the Rings of Power, though, already, about, the start of Gondor and the Duodan and
I just want to see just a movie of them building Gondor into the mountain. That's it.
I don't know. I'd like to see a story that isn't in Middle-earth. Show me something that's somewhere else, that's on another continent somewhere.
That'd be interesting.
I thought when we were getting Rings of Power, we were going to get some Morgoth somewhere, and we didn't.
No, I mean, we do get a little bit off on, what's the island? I forget what it's called now. But, yeah, for the most part, it all takes place in Middle-earth. I don't know. I mean, I'd love to see the Grey Havens, but we'll never see that because that's technically where you go when you die.
Which is really just show up in New York City going, what the fuck? Yeah. You just show up in Central Park. What the hell am I doing here?
This is the Grey Havens.
I wonder if it's like, in Narnia when he sends everybody through the tree.
Oh, jeez.
You're just going to go to Earth now. They just show up in a subway or something. The elves think they're going to some promised land. They show up in Jersey.
They end up in a tree making cookies for the rest of their lives.
Florida. If you could cast Adam Sandler in this movie, where would you cast him?
Oh, man. I would probably have made him.
It's just his voice.
So. Yeah, I know. I'm thinking.
While you're thinking, I'm telling you, I would get him to voice the creepy old lady that's in charge of the trunk. Remember when Hera goes to open up the trunk with the wedding dress? She's like, no, get away from that.
Yeah.
And having Adam Sandler just no, put that back. No.
See, I was leaning towards.
You gotta show me your cocky and balls. You gotta.
Oh, what the fuck?
You ever see that or listen to his comedy CD from back in the day?
No, not that one. I was thinking more like the
goat guy.
No, the one that kept freaking out about the wraith. He kept squealing at every noise and running away.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely him.
You gotta check out the Adam Sandler CD where you never heard of the goat and the football player?
No.
The kids are throwing a football to the goat. He's stuck in the back of a pickup truck. You never heard of Adam Sandler's The Goat?
No.
Oh my God.
I'm guessing you're going to play it before we leave tonight.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll throw it on some YouTube. Yeah.
So what are your takes on this movie as a whole?
So I'll go with what I didn't like. I'll start off there. There's really no explanation about the sneaking out, the ghost thing. It was very ambiguous, and I was like, that, even though people were getting murdered and stuff, I wanted to know, was there a ghost or was there not a ghost?
It almost felt like there was a deleted scene.
Yeah, I mean, because is it the giant creature? Is it the king? Or is it some crazy lady that's dead? I don't know, because they never, there's ghosts in the live action movies.
Yeah.
So, I'd like to see a story about those people that refused to come and fight.
Ooh.
They got turned into ghosts. That'd be a good movie. Not a trilogy, just give me one movie of the downfall, the tragedy of that kingdom.
That would be an interesting one.
Yes. And did anybody ever escape? Is there any people that were related to them that are alive that aren't ghosts? Any descendants, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the other thing, it didn't make sense to me while nephew Layloff or whatever, Flagu, whatever his name was. Why the nephew got tossed out? Falafel. Why he
got tossed out because he made the mistake of saying, no, we shouldn't fight. We should take everybody and put them in, safekeeping.
Yeah.
He got kicked out for not wanting to go to war.
I'm glad that he saved her from getting kidnapped. After she got kidnapped. I mean, there was a wild elephant. He was still trying to one little mistake and he just gets, fuck you, I'm out. There's something there between Helm and this kid's father that should have been expanded. There's got to be a give me a little bit more. Yeah. If you got 2 hours and 15 minutes animation here, give me in 2 hours, 20 minutes, 5 more minutes somewhere.
I mean, yeah, you're right. I would have loved to have learned a little bit more about that.
What didn't you like about the movie?
Well, see, I did, but I didn't. But I didn't like how they shoehorned Gandalf in at the end. Or how they
just name dropped him?
Yeah. Or how they had to bring in Saruman the White. Which, okay, yeah, it's pretty neat that, because in my headcanon, maybe he was behind those orcs. And now we know why he's at Isengard, but it was a standalone story that supposedly had nothing to do with the future trilogy. Leave it that way.
It's kind of what the Marvel movies do sometimes. They just have to mention the Avengers.
Yeah.
They have to mention the blip, whatever it may be. In this one, you have to mention the wizards. Just to remind you that you're in Middle-earth.
Yeah. Yeah, saying
here's some wizards.
He goes by Gandalf. There's some huge reveal.
Why didn't she go to see Radagast? Or one of the fucking Blue Wizards, man. Why does it have to be Gandalf?
I don't know. I mean, why didn't he go see Tom Bombadil?
Yeah. Tom Bombadil's a badass, dude.
He is.
He's a badass. I'd like to see a story about Tom Bombadil. Where's his movie at? I want some more Bombadil.
That'd be sweet.
And I want the same actor from Rings of Power. Because that dude just killed it to me. I think he killed
Tom Bombadil.
Yeah, that dude. Like, he's great. What I liked about this movie was everything else. It looked pretty. Action was good. It gave me a good backstory. So I know more. I know about Helm's Deep now. Like, I don't think this movie's irrelevant. I think it's a nice little chapter in the overall story that it was good. It's like, you know what? You don't need to have this cookie, but you were a good boy. We're going to give it to you anyway.
No, I completely agree. I mean, there were points in it
You're
where
like Irish there for a minute. I completely agree.
Sorry, I don't know what that was.
Canadian, Scottish, Canadian. Are you an Egyptian who went to Japan, who went to Scotland?
No, I don't know. I loved how there were points where I genuinely forgot it was a cartoon for a minute. Not that like I thought, oh, these are real people. I just got so absorbed in the story itself that the fact that it was animated was completely, pointless. I didn't care.
Favorite scene?
Favorite scene?
I'll go first.
Okay.
My favorite scene is Frozen Death King. Frozen Death King just whooping some ass on a bridge before he even gets to the bridge.
We didn't even mention that.
Yeah, we talked about that he eventually dies.
But we didn't say how.
Well, I mean, it's a blizzard outside. It's cold.
Yeah.
King Helm just beating the shit out of people for like 10 minutes.
At least, yeah.
Yeah, that was my favorite sequence because I was like not really sold on him. I was like, he's kind of a dick, He's kind of like that mean Santa Claus in that fucking Rudolph movie. And then he's just like, okay, like I understand sort of where he was coming from, why he needs to be kind of pissy, but when he just sitting there and he's just got his guns out, like it's probably fucking 10 degrees, -5 maybe. We're talking Fahrenheit here, not Celsius. I don't know what that in Celsius, but
a lot.
Yeah. He's just out there rocking like a fucking wife beater or something, just destroying people. Wife beating's bad. Don't do that. I'm just saying he's got a tank top on. He's got a tank top on. I don't know. Did he even have his shirt? I think he had some sort of a shirt on. But he's just
it was sleeveless.
A torn tunic.
Yeah, he said to her at one point, "Oh, you're cold. We should go." Bro, she's got more clothes on than you do. But he had the beard. Yeah,
that beard's mighty. That was my favorite scene. That sequence.
Man, I think mine would have to be closer to the beginning. The whole elephant scene where she whips up the dude's the dead body's horn. She gets its attention. She rides into the wood. Like, it was so.
That's a good sequence.
It was so clean. Like, and everything about it just felt organic. Like, it was very nicely done. It felt like something somebody in a D&D party would be like, okay, here's what I'm gonna try.
It reminded me of Prometheus, the end of Prometheus. And it also reminded me of a scene in Lake Placid.
Okay.
Where the one dude's running from like the grizzly comes running out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Like, oh shit, it's a fucking grizzly. And then the giant Lake Placid like crocodile alligator eats the fucking grizzly bear.
Yeah.
And then of course Prometheus with the engineer dude.
Giant squiddy thingy.
Yeah. And I was like, there's some shit that it just shouldn't fucking happen. Okay? Like, that's a good sequence. I think those are probably the two sequences that are probably best in the whole entire one. I mean, I feel like, oh, they were friends and, oh, they definitely sparred. Like that part there, I was like, okay, I feel like I've seen something like this before. Like, oh, of course the scar came from her, yada, yada.
Well, and we almost had a Prometheus school of running away from things. When one elephant was falling over, the guy dove out of the way. He didn't run under it. So,
Serpentine, how about just straight?
Kudos. Yeah.
Like, did cars not exist in Prometheus? The movie, the little Serpentine. Like,
I don't know.
Lightning McQueen, like, come on, man.
They're shooting at us.
Cars is a good kids movie.
Oh, it is. It's great. So what rating would you give this movie?
Well, first off, I guess I'd have to ask myself, do I give animated movies and live action movies the same rating? Now, we've talked about before that like Spider-Man and Spider-Verse, they can do things on screen there that you can't do in a live action movie. But you still got to have plot. You still got to have writing. You still need to have acting, even though it's just voices. It's got to be compelling. It has to have energy. So I guess basically I answer my own question, go with the same scale. Out of 10, I give this a 7.5.
All right. That's pretty solid.
Yeah, 7.5. I want to give it 8, and it is 2 hours long. And even though it's 2 hours long, I feel like it's still lacking something somewhere. I'm not sure what it is.
Well, I did like that it didn't feel
it's
rushed.
missing something.
Like, it didn't feel rushed. It felt
No, it's
almost
not rushed at all.
slow, but at a good pace at the same time. There was enough going on to keep your attention.
It's paced to where you think you might want to pick up your phone, but then something does happen.
Right.
What about you? What do you give it out of 10?
I give it an 8 out of 10.
8 out of 10? Okay.
And to me, that means I would absolutely watch it again.
Yeah, I'd watch it again. I'd recommend it to somebody.
Yeah, I don't know, absolutely.
It might grow on me more over time. Sometimes a rewatch, in your environment where you're at. Now, I stopped and started this, probably 15 times. I'm at work. Phones are going off, customers coming in. And sometimes it helps if you just watch it beginning to end. And sometimes that hurts a movie. This one, had I watched it in a different environment, like down here in the man cave, maybe I would have been more engaged or something. But overall, I still like it. I think it's a good addition to the Lord of the Rings saga. Do you?
Oh, yeah. No, absolutely. I even have in my notes, I think it's a fantastic addition to the lore because it gives you lore. Not only does it answer some questions about the existing lore of Lord of the Rings, but it opens up some new ones too.
Yeah, now you got some questions and mysteries. It's kind of like what's going on with Star Wars these days. They're coming up with stories that are kind of off the beaten path. Like this, her going to see Gandalf, it's kind of like a Mandalorian thing. Like you don't really know about that, or fucking Andor. And so you're like, yeah, I know the main beats, but how did they get there? And it's a little bit different. Like I know I've said on I don't want to know how the fucking Death Star got made and fucking plans got stolen and shit. Only because it's so prevalent and it's so in your face in our culture now. Whereas Helm's Deep isn't in my face all the time. I'm like, dude, I fucking get it. It's Helm's Deep, man. Like, no, like I saw it in one movie.
Well, and so I had no idea it was going to go to Helm's Deep. I just thought it was going to be a War of the Rohirrims, like in
I
Rohan.
thought it was going to be like two massive fucking armies or something. Because I saw like a snippet of a trailer. I didn't see like a full trailer for this.
Saw nothing.
And that's why I'm so glad that I didn't, because I wasn't fucking spoiled by anything.
Well, see, I saw absolutely nothing going into watching this. I just knew it was about
I didn't even know
Rohan.
the fucking birds were in it. No fucking idea.
So the fact that it ended up at Helm's Deep in the winter was a great surprise. I loved it. I thought it was fantastic. If you're a fan of fantasy, of Lord of the Rings, of anime, I strongly recommend you check this out.
Completely agree. 100%. Absolutely. That's what I got on this. You got anything else? Because I don't have anything. This is a short episode.
Unfortunately, I don't have much. No, I don't have anything more. Yeah, this is going to be a short episode, which is weird that it's going to be such a short episode for a...
We've been rocking some 3-hour episodes.
2 hour,
lately.
15-minute movie. Yeah, we have. This will be a nice, easy editing job.
Yeah. And maybe next time you guys catch up with us, maybe we'll be talking about some sort of fantastical creatures or something. I don't know. We're still kicking around some ideas for next time. We'll see.
Yep.
Maybe we'll have a guest. Maybe we won't. We don't know. It's all up in the air. We don't even know what we're doing tomorrow.
Well, we're going to discuss it in about 5 minutes.
Yes. Figure it out.
All right. Well, as always, if you like what you hear, jump on over to our social medias, Facebook, X, Instagram. Drop us a line. Just look up Tree of Geek, and you're going to find us. If you message us, we do get back to people, so please don't be afraid to reach out. We post regularly. We'd love to hear your feedback. What are your opinions on this movie?
And if, like I said before, if you have any anime that is fantastical based, let me know. Yeah. Mythology, fantasy, sword and sandal, magic, let me know.
Or if you have a fantasy based episode that you would like to hear.
Yeah, if you want to know, like, do a Conan episode or some shit.
Yeah, let us know. Let us know. We'd love to hear about it. We'd love to dive into it.
We're here for you.
I mean, if we can do something that we haven't seen before, that could be interesting as well. Because you're going to get our blunt, honest opinions. We're not going to sugarcoat it for the sake of a podcast. If it sucked, we're going to tell you it sucked.
Yeah, I'm glad we didn't do a sci-fi episode on Elevation. I can say that because I would have tore that movie apart.
Well, that's almost like Upgrade. Like,
Upgrade's
hey,
better.
It was an okay
Upgrade's
movie,
way better.
But that is not an entire episode's worth of a movie.
No, it's not.
So if you're really liking what you're hearing, look us up on Patreon, patreon.com/Tree of Geek. For $5 a month, you can join our Patreon, where you get exclusive access to behind-the-scenes pictures, the ability to vote on upcoming polls, as well as episodes and other ideas. And very soon, we will be releasing some Patreon member-only content. And for a very limited time, when you subscribe to our Patreon, you will receive a free Tree of Geek tumbler customized with your name or username on it. Just let us know, and we will get that mailed out to you.
Yeah, if you wanted to say D's nuts, we'll put that on there for you.
Why is that where you keep going?
Fine, write down Princess of Rohan, whatever you want, man.
Princess of Rohan's nuts. But that's it for the Tree of Geek. So this is Josh telling you to take care and go watch this movie.
All right, guys, that's all we have. We're putting the train back in the station. Until next time, later on, a jug, a jug, a jug.
Meow.
You end up in the Gulf of America. Yeah.
Why?
I don't know. They're on a boat. They're just on a boat. You know what I mean? And they get turned away.
Oh, jeez. All right, moving on.
All right, moving on.